Y'all don't understand how rare it is for me to cry. Like, it's so rare.
Anyway, ni hao. Who the told that was me now? Hi everyone, welcome back to Themis and Toast. Grab your coffee, water, tea, whatever you're drinking, go and get that. And let's talk. Yes, we're still on the Hooksian perspective. It is a thing that we're continuing to do. For the men watching, for the two men watching, have you ever thought, I want a quote, down chick? An attractive but attainable woman, someone who, I don't know, someone who dances and cooks at the same time, someone who is, what's the word I'm looking for here? Familiar. By familiar, I mean uses like a grainy camera and they're in a kitchen that you might be able to afford and you think you can afford it. A traditional woman who twerks. Someone who will let you rest. Someone who will never tell you to go get a job, be better, achieve something, actualize your potential. Have you ever thought you want a woman who will never embarrass you? Someone who will make you feel like a king? Not in your kingdom, but in their house where they're paying all the bills and taking care of everything. You can kick your food up and they will cook for you, twerk for you, and give you the food to eat. A fantasy girl, a girl that never nags, that never speaks up, that tells you you are amazing and that you are great just the way you are. If so, maybe bell hooks. I'm kidding, bell hooks probably won't work. If you are looking for that fantasy girl, I don't know what to tell you. They probably don't exist. Because today, instead of that fantasy girl, we're going to be talking about Kaya Renee Jenkins. That is not that girl's name. It felt good to say a full name, but that's not that girl's name. We're talking about Cooking with Kaya. Kaya from Cooking with Kaya. Cooking with Kaya is a young girl that cooks and twerks for men on TikTok. Yes, she cooks and twerks for men on TikTok. The issue is that I think Kaya fundamentally misunderstands her audience and she believes that these men love, care for, and respect her.
I am not male-centered. However, males are very nice to me, and for the most part, most males respect me. And then,
by the way, this is the respect.
Like an LOL blooper. Get to the twerking part.
it don't even look like it no more. It don't look good.
I know nigga don't be giving no fuck. Get to the part that's good.
Cooking with Kaya. Cooking with Kaya. Cooking with Kaya. Cooking with Kaya.
Time to hit the gym.
Kaya's problems are simple, but it is fundamentally this. She completely misunderstands her position on TikTok and therefore her audience and why her audience is attracted to her. To understand this, we have to look at two concepts and then I'll get into the facts. The first concept that I want us to talk about is the male gaze. What it is, how it operates, very briefly. Then we're going to talk about bell hooks and what bell hooks thinks about men and how bell hooks ideas around men and resting in particular fits into Kaya's misconception of her audience and how she broke the fantasy, fundamentally broke the fantasy for men in her audience, and maybe, just maybe, how she can reclaim her throne as the twerking cooking queen of TikTok. All right, so let's start with the male gaze. In 1975, the male gaze was popularized by an essay that focuses on storytelling. Simply put, the male gaze is concerned with how women are positioned, and now they position themselves to appeal to men. Here, the objectification of women is central. The woman who engages in seeking the validation from men and appealing to the male gaze fundamentally disassociates from her personhood, from her agency, and from her humanness in some ways, in an effort to make herself an object for male consumption. This detachment from self leads to the detachment from other women and community generally. Kaya does not just try to attract the male gaze on her own. Kaya courting of the male gaze is fundamentally about antagonizing other women in order to be better than them, to force women in a kind of competition for men. Now men become the prize in Kaya's mind, and women are in competition with her, or rather, she's in competition with other women. She'll take your man if you don't tighten up. She will take your husband if you don't cook well enough. She will do this and she'll do that. She's better than you in a lot of ways. At least that's what she wants your men to think, or men to think, so that they can weaponize her against other women.
Girl, I could steal your man with this dinner I just cooked, bro. Take a good look. Welcome to another video with Cooking with Kaya. Cooking with Kaya. Cooking with Kaya.
While I Can Take Your Man is obviously Kaya trolling, something fundamental is happening here also. She's creating a divide between herself and other women. It is very clearly from her very first sentence that this video is not for women, it is for men. She is in competition with women, so why would they watch? It's not for them, it's, again, for men, the men she can steal, the men she will give ammunition against women. She becomes an archetype for men to use against other women, and she knows this. She knows what she's doing, and she's doing it. In the man's world, to create a kind of triangulation, setting women against women, Kaya makes herself a point on whatever dusty pyramid is created for the fight to continue. She is willingly putting herself out there as a competitor, an abstract persona, an archetype for women to compete with and men to project onto. Kaya's utility for men is to be a comparative tool. This, her, Kaya, is what womanhood should be, and if you fall short, well, you will be dragged for it because the men want Kaya. She's useful. Now, Kaya can build her platform however she wants. She can build her platform catering to men, pandering to men, uplifting men, and telling women they are not doing enough, that they should cook more, work more, do more. But she still does not understand her audience. And I think this, again, is her fatal flaw. You don't believe they respect you, right? You hopefully don't believe these men respect you, but unfortunately, for someone like Kaya, she does. And I will give her grace because she is a young lady. And I think that is important when we are engaging with anything around her, is to remember that she's young, and as she grows, hopefully she learns and evolves and be better. But when she says these men respect her, I was concerned. The men who are telling her to start an OnlyFans because not only do they want more from her, they want more access, they want to see more, they want to do more, they also actively engage in disrespecting her.
Niggas, I mean nigga people. Oh Lord.
If Kaya understood what Bell Hooks was saying when it comes to black men in particular, I think she would not have made the fatal flaw of destroying the fantasy she had created for these men. Now, what did Bell Hooks say? Let's turn to page 102 and read together. Despite changes in the nature of gender roles, ours is still a patriarchal culture where sexism rules the day. If it were not so, men could see periods of unemployment as timeouts where they could do the work of self-actualization, where they could do the work of healing. Many working men in our culture can barely read or write. Imagine if time away from work could be spent in exciting literacy programs for poor and middle class men. Imagine a way. Imagine a wage offered for this work of self-development. Now, there's more there. What Bell Hooks is trying to say is that these men need to rest. She will go on to talk about how we should not criticize men who stay home while women go out and work. Gender roles are flipping in Bell Hooks' mind. And Kaya coming out and talking about her boyfriend in the way that she did is extraordinarily disruptive to this.
The plan was never for him to live with me. I wanted him to have his own place. I have my place, and I could go to your house, you come to my house. But I understood his circumstances, so me being the real person I am, I stuck by his side, like, during times, like, other girls probably would have been like, no, okay? I kind of got fed up. But eventually, as a woman, you get frustrated when you have a man, and you feel like he, like, ain't doing nothing really. If I'm up here and you down here, and I'm not saying that that's what it is, but I'm just saying, like.
So what you just saw, we'll get back to that video. I will play that video. We'll talk about that video later. But what I want you to understand is, while I disagree with Bell Hooks in The Will to Change creates a framework for how women can operate with men, particularly online, to extract viewership and support. That is my view of it. Kaya, look, girl, you can shame your man for not having a job and living with you. To do that is to break the illusion your man represents the men that are watching you. Talking the way you talk to him diminishes the interest in you because these men thought you were the down chick, the one that will cook and twerk and provide, and your camera quality, your food quality, the quality of your kitchen, all of that seemed to be attainable for a lot of men. And when that kind of woman, you, start requiring more from men, well, that is a problem for those men that you have curated as your audience. Again, I think this is a fundamental misunderstanding by Kaya of her brand. She does not get the fact that her brand and the men who listen to her do not want better. They don't want their girlfriends telling them to do better. They want to weaponize you, Kaya, as a down chick that gives them food and twerks and looks good for them while she does it. These women in the real world are probably telling their men to get up, do better, go to work, turn in an application, walk the dog, do something. That is not what they want. You are the archetype to tell their girlfriends and to drag women that they don't have because of the lonely man epidemic, to drag women for these men who have no woman, no access, telling women that they need to be better. But now that we have the boring stuff out of the way, let's talk about what happened with Cooking with Kaya. So, this is how I understand it. Kaya was hired or included in Streamers University by Kai Cenat, and she was supposed to be a culinary instructor for the Streamers University. At some point, they were having a party, and Kaya was there at the party dancing and twerking as she does, and another streamer hit her on the buttocks, on her bum. The thing is, all of this was being streamed, and Kaya's boyfriend apparently, allegedly, was at a hotel waiting for her, and he, seeing what happened with his girlfriend getting smacked, started crashing out. It is important to note that Kaya said she was drinking at this point and she did not know that someone had touched her, and the person who had touched her apologized to her. She made a video about this that I don't care to watch. What I do care about is her boyfriend crashing out. I must also say Kaya said this is not her boyfriend, but for a reason I'll talk about, I just reject Kaya's claim about whether or not they're together. Anyway, this is what the boyfriend had to say. F Streamers University, I just lost my ball. DAMN, I am in the hotel waiting for my BITCH, and she at the club 6 minutes away from me getting her, you know what, slapped live in front of 50K people. Clout, a dangerous drug. Never trust no BITCH, y'all. Learn from me. Then he goes on to say, taking that to the chin, good run, Zabron, I don't know his name, I don't know how to pronounce it, don't care, won't look it up, is back. So he's crashing out, and everyone is wondering what is happening. Before I move on, I want you to understand why this is a problem for Kaya. The problem is when Kaya started blowing up last December 2024, there were a ton of videos out defending Kaya against hate. I searched high, low, wide for this hate that everyone was pushing back against, and I could not find a video where women were hating on Kaya. There was one video where a woman in a blonde wig was talking about how she don't know how to cook and Kaya's making it hard for women like her. This is the only kind of hate towards Kaya that I could find, and even that video was a self-deprecating joke. So I couldn't find these videos of women dragging Kaya, so I don't know what these people were responding to talking about women dragging Kaya. Now, I have a theory on why this happened at the time. I'll explain why I'm talking about this now. I think the women who are conservative and in the manosphere and they're using their platform to appeal to men hated Kaya. I think that's what happened. But because they could not speak out against Kaya because men seemed to love her for the sole reason of pushing her in other women's face, these women could not tell their true feelings about Kaya. To do this, they had to hide their feelings by projecting that on some ghost, some phantom hate train that did not exist, and they got to say what they wanted to say about Kaya, about how women were talking about she's twerking and they're just jealous because she looks good and she might be a bit naked and it might be a little risque and maybe no men don't want it, but we need to leave her alone because these quote-unquote hyenas are just mad that Kaya knows how to cook and be in the kitchen. All the while, these were the women who hated Kaya because none of them, I repeat, none of them were able to provide evidence of the hate that Kaya was getting. And I promise you, we watched over 20 videos of women from the manosphere who drag everyone else for twerking, defending Kaya against other women dragging her, but never provided any evidence of other women dragging her. That is diabolical and some A-level pandering. In any case, I bring that up because now as she's getting dragged by men, Kaya and other people are talking about how women should defend Kaya and how the sisterhood somehow failed Kaya. it is sad to see a young girl getting dragged over the internet. And if this is any help to her, I do wish her the best, and I hope that she grows and that her content can evolve into something meaningful. I'm not sure who she was going to sell cookbooks to because these men weren't there for her food. In any case, I do hope she evolved, but to expect the woman that Kaya was positioning herself as better than, positioning herself above, to be the ones to come to Kaya's defense while the men that she was pandering to are dragging her feels a bit ill-advised and like out of the ordinary and out of the realm of reasonability. Like that feels unreasonable to expect the women you were disrespecting continuously to be the ones coming to your defense. That is insane. Those men were fickle. You know they were fickle and you pandered to them. Well, actually, I don't know if you know they were fickle because you kept saying they respected you while they're telling you to start an OnlyFans and saying, shut up because we only want to see you twerk. But that's neither here nor there. Kaya's boyfriend was online just absolutely crashing out. And outside of the lack of emotional regulation, there's something really sad about him crashing out because this is not just biting the hand that feeds you. It feels like cutting off the hand that fed you and gave you shelter. Like it was wild in real time to not think, you know what, let me just not do all of this because I don't want to lose my, how do you say, cash cow in a way that's not derogatory? I don't know. The person housing me. Now, this is very kind of reminiscent of Kiki and her baby's father. It's reminiscent of that. And there's something very deeply concerning about these women on the come up dating down, but we move on. The successful women dating down is odd. Now, again, Kaya had a bunch of different options. She decided that she would come online and tell us about her boyfriend who is not her boyfriend, who lived with her and who doesn't pay any bills or doesn't have any ambition. Here, watch and let's talk.
So, I'm not going to tell all his business because that would be, that would be me being a bad person. Like, I'm not like that. So I'm not going to tell all his business, but long story short, something happened in Texas to where he had to come live with me. And we only really knew each other for a month, but I felt bad. Well, not even live with me. He was like, okay, he was gonna stay with me for a little bit, and then he was like, oh yeah, next week I'm gonna get a place out here in LA. Cause he was like, he said he wanted to move out to LA anyway, so he could be with me. That's what he said. So, if y'all think I'm lying, I have receipts. There's nothing to lie about. He knows the truth. That's why I told him, I was like, are you sure you want to talk? Because if you want to talk, we're going to tell the whole thing. Y'all, he's nobody like who y'all think he is. He's not like... So, he was supposed to stay with me for a little bit, and y'all, I didn't mind it because he had already stayed for a few weeks. So I'm like, okay, another week or two is fine. That's cool. So, a week turned into 2. 2 turned into a month turned into 4 months, and months, and eventually, like I said, we were never even boyfriend and girlfriend. I had met him for 1 month, and we were living together for months, okay? Don't get me wrong, I really did like him. I'm not saying I didn't never have feelings or nothing for him, because why would I let him live with me for... To this day, he lives with me, okay? Not no more. He got to go to his mama house. Or hopefully now he could go get his place. I don't know. Like I said, we were just talking, and the plan was never for him to live with me, okay? The plan was never for him to live with me. I wanted him to have his own place. I have my place, and I could go to your house, you come to my house. but I understood his circumstances. So me being the real person I am, I stuck by his side, like during times like any like other girls probably would have been like, no, okay. So no, I wasn't doing stuff like him. Yeah, at the time, before he met me, he was streaming and getting his money in ways, y'all know what I'm talking about. So while he was staying with me, like, I was telling him, like, you need to start, like, streaming, like, well, actually, at the time, y'all, I didn't have a PC. And his PC, no, he did bring his PC, but he didn't hook it up. I think he ended up taking his PC to his mom's house. At the time, I kept telling him, like, I understand, like, right now, you not, like, in a good place, and I was trying to be there for him as much as possible. But eventually, after months, especially with us not being boyfriend and girlfriend, after months of me doing like pretty much everything for us, I kind of got fed up. But eventually, as a woman, you get frustrated when you have a man and you feel like he like ain't doing nothing really. So I was telling him, like, you need to start streaming. I got to the point where I told him, let me establish myself in my career and you go establish yourself, and then and we can still be together. I never said we couldn't be together. I said, just go establish yourself. Get something going for yourself, like something consistent, you know? At least stream. That's what I kept telling him. I was like, just stream, do something, you know, just establish yourself. Because if I'm up here and you down here, and I'm not saying that that's what it is, but I'm just saying, like, we need to be, I feel like a good couple should be on the same level, or maybe the man should be, like, a little bit higher than the woman.
Let me say this up front. Kaya was dead wrong. Yes, the boyfriend came online and was talking all kind of mess. Cut him out and shove him out of your life. If you understood your brand, you would never, ever have come online and addressed it like this. You would have said something to the effect of, we are not together, we were never together. Or you could explain why you were at Streamers University doing what you needed to do to get ahead, or whatever it is, just do not talk about him. And it's not because you don't have a right to talk about him, it's because the men that are watching you do not care about you and your well-being. They don't want the best for you. They want the best for themselves. And the best for themselves is you projecting an image as the down chick, the one who works and takes care of home and never complain, so that they can tell other women that that's what they need to do to get a man, and stop complaining if the man is there. That's all that matters. Twerk, cook, and give that food to your man. That's what they want. They do not want you to tell a man to get a job, get ambition, do something with his life, contribute. That is not what they want. And I think if Kaya understood that, then she would not have made this video. All right, Kaya said, I wrote these down, that the man was a bum, a homeless bum that needed a place to stay, and she gave him a place to stay. They were not together, but if they weren't together, why would she let him live in her house and then bring him around? It is what it is. You met him for a month and then moved him in. Yeah, what is wrong with young women and like taking care of men, moving them in, not even knowing these men not contributing, but you taking care of. You like him and you care about how he feels. You guys weren't together, but he moved in your home. He is online crashing out over you, but you are not together. You're kicking him out now. And you said, quote, that you stuck by his side. Did he pay any bills, like, at all? Did he contribute? Kaya said, I was trying to do everything for us, but y'all weren't together. Kaya, girl, I don't believe you. I I don't believe. It would have been better had Kaya just said, I was out, some guy touched me and I didn't know they touched me. I didn't know. And just leave it there. As opposed to now lying about the relationship, allegedly, lying about the relationship status of her and her boyfriend slash friend slash tenant, housemate. I don't know. It is weird to just think that we're going to ignore everything there and just assume that, yeah, they weren't together and he just crashing out online. I mean, men do that. Men do crash out online when they are not together. But something is fishy here.
But eventually, as a woman, you get frustrated when you have a man and you feel like he ain't doing nothing really. So I was telling him, like, you need to start streaming. I got to the point where I told him, let me establish myself in my career and you go establish yourself, and then and we can still be together. I never said we couldn't be together. I said just go establish yourself, get something going for yourself, like something consistent, you know. At least stream. That's what I kept telling him. I was like, just stream, do something, you know, just establish yourself. Because if I'm up here and you down here, and I'm not saying that that's what it is, but I'm just saying, like, we need to be, I feel like a good couple should be on the same level, or maybe the man should be like a little bit higher than the woman.
It's hypergamy talk. And I don't know why you think you get to engage in hypergamy and discussion around hypergamy when it comes to these men. Your audience do not like this hypergamy talk, and you need to know that. Like, I am up here and he's down there. He's not doing anything. Yes, that is your audience. Fundamentally, that is the problem. That is, when you were telling women to cook, are you going to take their man? A lot of them probably wanted to give their men to you because they weren't doing anything at home. That's why these women didn't want to cook for them or quote unquote cater to them. You were showing them how to cater to a man. Now you got the same black man. Kaya is attainable in these men's mind. She cooks, she twerks, she does not complain. She is a fantasy that allows them to drag other women. In fact, she drags the other women for these men. When she opens most of her videos, she's talking about taking your man, taking your husband if you don't do this. Kaya actually does this thing where she was doing an interview that I will not play here, and she explains that she's trying to inspire women to cook for them. You're not trying to inspire any kind of woman to do anything. Stop lying. Don't play in my face. Do not play in my face, and do not play in the faces of other people. You were trying to get men to pay attention to you. That is why you twerk, that is why you wore what you wore, and that's why you cooked the way that you did. And specifically, peering all of that by saying you will take other women's men, you knew exactly what you were doing. It was for the male gaze, and don't deny it. Because that's weird, to be denying it and lying. Kaya being young, it is understandable in a patriarchy that a young girl would want the attention of men, that they will vie for the attention of men, and that they will create brands online to get the attention of men. Now that she has had this backlash, she could choose to evolve. She could think about what is authentic to her and how to create a well-meaning audience that is there for something like her cooking. Maybe she go to, I don't know, a cooking class. I've watched many of her videos in preparation for this video that I decided not to use, but I watched her videos, and I would not eat a lot of what was cooked. Come at me if you want in the comments. It is what it is. There is no instruction, so I couldn't make what she made because it is not something to teach you to cook. I think she learned to cook in a way that is instructive to the audience. Maybe she can build a brand that way. Maybe she can find another way to market herself and pivot into something that is more meaningful to an audience that will care about that which she's doing. Even if she wants to use her body in the way she does, fine, perfect, do it. But do something that is sustainable. Trying to appeal to men long term does not lead to a business endeavor that is sustainable. I am not here to drag you, dunk on you, or any of that. I'm simply here to tell you to find that which is authentic to you. It is important that what you're doing, you believe in it fundamentally. So when things get bad, when the tables turn and people turn on you as they have and they will at some point in the future, what you're doing sustains you because it is what you want to do. It is what you feel good doing and not something you're just trying to get by with by pandering to people you don't believe in. I think that is fundamentally important for the way that you create content. That is all my advice for today. You can take it, you can leave it. You have a big platform, so you might just disregard. And for anyone trying to make content, please just do what you think is right and not what you think will get you the most following. I know it's hard, but I mean, someone's got to do it. Operating with authenticity is important. Anyway, I will leave that there for now. Remember to like, share, comment, and subscribe, and I will see you again later. Bye. Oh, I go live on Fridays at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I usually drop the link so you can come up and talk to me for anyone listening who wants to talk to me. All right, I'm gone for real now. Bye.